Hey everyone, and before we dive into the creative process, I want to take a moment right up front to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. Thanks for joining me for this festive speed paint. Today, we're doing a crossover drawing featuring two characters who share some fascinating similarities. We'll be drawing Kris, the protagonist from the indie RPG Deltarune, and Alice the skeleton from another fantastic indie game called HorrorVale. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, shouldn't this have been a Halloween drawing? And you're absolutely right, it would have been perfect. But the idea didn't really click for me until now, when I was brainstorming holiday art around Halloween. I was preoccupied with a different project I did, that orange dryad piece, if you recall. But that was a ways back now, and it's time to move on to this new idea. The holiday theme actually suits these two characters in a fun, dark, and slightly spooky way, making it a unique Christmas piece. But enough about the timing. Let's talk about why these two characters work so well together. They are surprisingly similar, with both of them being characters of few words. Their quiet, almost stoic nature is a great parallel. They also seem to share a certain affinity for darker aesthetics and themes. For example, Kris in Deltarune maybe potentially summon a monster, embracing a darker power. And while it's just a hunch, I know that Skeleton Alice is a necromancer and Think is a baby doctor as well in the HorrorVale game. You'll have to play the game to confirm it, I can't really remember, so take it with a grain of salt. I'm taking some artistic liberties with the scene to highlight these shared traits. We're going to put Kris and Alice side by side to emphasize their dynamic. I'll be focusing on the details that make them stand out, like Kris's preference for chocolate and knives, and Alice's intriguing love for gardening and potion making. Imagine them sharing a moment, perhaps exchanging their slightly unusual interests. For Kris, maybe there's a chocolate bar involved, and for Alice, a curious-looking plant. These little details can really bring the characters to life. As I start sketching, I'm thinking about the subtle expressions on their faces. For Kris, a neutral, almost unreadable look, and for Alice, a happy look. It's all in the details. And I'll be showing you exactly how I build up these layers, from the initial sketch to the final colors, to bring this scene to life. Now moving on to some of the supporting elements of the artwork, the red soul and the ghost girl I included. For those familiar with the Deltarune and Undertale universe, you already more or less know that the heart, or the red soul, is symbolic of us, the player or the human soul guiding Kris. It's a central motif that connects directly to the viewer's experience. When it comes to Ghost Girl, I need to be careful with my commentary here. I really don't want to spoil any major plot points of HorrorVale. If you are still wanting to play this one, I highly recommend it. I think it's a really good game and exploring the story yourself is part of the fun. I'm leaving a lot of her backstory a mystery in the art to encourage you to check out the game for yourselves. I also considered adding Scruffy the dog, another great character from the HorrorVale game. It's a really nifty dog, very cute and has a ton of personality. Ultimately, I decided not to go there, mainly because the composition of the artwork was getting tricky. I couldn't position everyone aesthetically, especially if I wanted them to fit nicely on top of the video thumbnail without looking too crowded. As artists know, sometimes less is more in a single image. In the final drawing, I've decided to render Skeleton Alice looking up at the red soul, a gesture that adds a layer of depth and curiosity to her character. I've also added the Ghost Girl character. She has a very cool design, and I do believe she has those glowing yellow eyes, much like Sen's does in Undertale. Maybe that's just a visual theory on my part, but you've got to admit, it does look pretty cool. The primary reason I decided to add the ghost to this speed painting was simply because there was room in the composition. The background felt a little empty, and adding her filled that negative space perfectly without distracting from the main subjects. Initially, I had ambitious plans to add others as well. I considered Princess Hornet the spider demigod, as well as her two brothers. It would have been great to add more HorrorVale characters, but in the end, the picture would have become too cluttered with all of these others added to the mix. It's all about balance in art. But that's okay. I suppose that just means there will be more characters to draw at a later date, in a future speed paint perhaps. As we wrap up the final details in this drawing, and as we get to the very end of this video, I want to once again wish every one of you a happy and safe holiday year. It won't be too long now until the year ends and we start 2026. Time flies when you're drawing. Thanks so much for watching the process. Please hit that subscribe button to see what I draw next, and goodbye for now.